Hello, guys. Welcome to episode 19.5. Heck yeah, my name's Dylan.
This is the Cunning Buffoons.
Oh, yeah, this is the
you
Rubbin Buffoons.
Really? What? Huh?
Uh,
Gibbon Buffoons?
Giving Buffoons?
Yeah,
For sure.
We are now. Are Gibbons birds?
Giving
birds.
Monkeys.
Gatlinburg?
Monkeys?
We're
Gibbon
Gatlinburg now.
monkeys? I don't know. We're something.
Yeah.
And I'm Andrew.
I'm Benjamin.
Benjamin. I got something for you. You keep talk.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Little bird told me one day, once upon a time,
Yes, a gibbon is a
We-
primate.
Guys, motorcycles aren't dangerous.
motorcycles are not
They're
dangerous.
dangerous, but so is a car.
They're really, really fun.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me get back in there.
Yeah, you want to like... What was that for?
I don't know. It felt like the thing to do at the time.
I was gonna let you like tie me down to the thing.
No, it's just for the hair. One of our
Oh.
favorite things to do at the factory, like you'd be standing there doing something and somebody come up with one of them tape guns that you could really get it going, and they'd be like, and you'd be like, ah, and then you'd have half your hair gone. I only did your front forearm. I'm sorry, I seen the tape. We've already been out here for a whole episode. I was getting bored.
I don't think it's gonna rip my arm.
Your arm, yeah, it's probably not gonna.
Not rip my arm.
All right, we need better tape.
Oh, I did hurt pulling though. Did pull some of it.
Yeah, we definitely need better tape. That only took like 3 hairs. He is as hairy as a Sasquatch. And so, like, I should have been able to rip half his hair out. But no, we got crappy tape.
A Sasquatch.
Should have had duct tape.
Are you the Squatch?
No, that's my uncle.
Then
I'm related to him.
you're related to the Squatch?
Yeah.
Huh. I think Sasquatch is an interdimensional being.
Was that you who
My
said that? Or was that
demonstration's
Aaron?
over. I can put.
Somebody said that they think he's like some sort of time traveler or something like that.
I don't think he's a time traveler. I think he's literally a created order of beings. Like, the angels were created, right? And you have all the spiritual side of the world. Like, the heavens are filled with, like, read the Bible. There's a whole bunch of different angels, right?
Yeah.
And there's different classes of angels, different orders. And then you have, like, where the angels come down and they're like, yo, women is beautiful, right? And so they started, like, bastardizing women. That's where you get the giants and, like, a lot of your legends from history. But then, like, I think there was, like, for me, I know it. But, like, other people will be like, you're stupid. It's like, it doesn't matter. That's what I believe. But, like, I think there was a whole other class of created beings that are spiritual beings that can also walk in and out of the physical realm. And so, like, that's why, like, if you really start studying the Sasquatch and the people that look for them and everything, like some of the forestry stuff, and, like, you'll have people go in there and, like, one dude I was listening to the other day was like, I was hearing a story about, I was with some logging camps and we're looking for Sasquatch in the woods and everything. They're like, if you ever look and you see, like, a box and, like, it just looks like a shimmering, whatever. And he's like, don't go to it. And he's like, since then, that's been years. I've asked a bunch of loggers, like, what happens if I go to it? And they're like, just don't go to it. It's like, and there's a whole lot of stuff that can't be explained.
Kind of like that movie we watched, where like you walked too far and it was like,
Oh, yeah, you went to the spirit world or whatever.
or you teleported into a different
Yeah.
year. What was that called?
Where the...
Where
Something,
the wild
something.
things are.
No. What was the name of that movie, Mama? Did you watch it with us?
I don't think so.
Yes, you did.
I did.
Yeah.
What happened
Your
in it?
dad recommended it.
Cato Lake.
Caddo Lake.
Cato Lake. Cato. I can say Cato if I
Yeah,
want.
basically,
I
they
just-
walked and then
That didn't ring a bell.
they
I
like
had to say
got
it the
into a
right way
different
to
dimension.
ring
Like
the
his
bell.
dad,
The way
their
Dad
dad
said
was
it.
his own like grandfather.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was like crazy time, like time travel all over the place.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
by accident.
But you
'cause-
get, and then they got stuck, and then like the dad became like the grandfather, and then the grandfather became the.
Now, I don't
third
remember the whole, like,
uncle.
my own grandpa crap, but, like, I remember it being weird.
Well, they
Like,
were,
they thought the dad abandoned them. Like my
Yeah.
father run off. When
Yeah.
really he, like, got stuck in a time travel loop.
yeah.
So like Tron.
Tron.
No. There was no alien races and super bikes. It was all on a lake,
I don't
okay?
know, that's the only thing I remember from Tron. Is I got stuck in the video game.
I did like the one scene in that to where the one area he's going through, like, it's got multiple timelines. So like he can hear the one timeline and the other timeline, and he's all running around the swamp, and like it's raining one place and sunny the next, and
It was kind of weird.
I mean a lot of movies like that are weird. It's like that stupid movie Inception that come out years ago. We can all go in the dreams and plan ideas. It's like, why don't you just beat them up and make them do it? Like
Watched
Interstellar was pretty good.
Interstellar. Is that the one where he's looking behind the bookcase?
Yeah,
Okay, got you.
that was pretty good.
It was an alright movie.
It was kind of like they could have not made this 2 hours long, and it would have been just as good. But I liked it.
Space Odyssey.
Is that the one with Matthew
No.
McConaughey? Or am I thinking about a different movie?
Is that Matthew McConaughey?
I don't know.
Like
I
the
don't-
whole world's turned into.
I can't
dust or
remember
something, so they
Anybody
send them,
saying
like,
all
to
right,
space.
all right in it?
No, it's
I don't-
not Matthew McConaughey.
I don't even know. I don't think.
It's Matt
I
Dillon.
haven't watched.
No,
any
it's
of it.
that.
Matt
It's
Damon.
Batman.
Matt Damon.
It's Batman.
Who's Matt
No,
Dillon?
it's not.
No, it's Matthew
Matt
McConaughey.
Dillon
You guys are both wrong.
Is the
Oh,
Matt Damon is
sheriff
also in it though.
Wait,
They're both in
on
it.
the old Cowboys?
let me see the main character.
Remember?
Yeah, that's Matthew McConaughey. But Matt Damon's
Huh?
in it.
I was right.
They're both in it.
Yeah, but is
both right.
who the heck is Matt
Timothy
Dillon?
Chalamet's in that movie.
I don't
Miss
know
Tay,
that.
can you look up Matt?
Who is
Dillon?
Timothy
I know
Chalamet?
exactly who Matt Dillon is. I just can't describe it to him.
He's
Who is
probably a little
Timothy
kid.
Who's Timothy
Oh,
Chalamet?
Matt Dillon.
That's the sheriff dude, right?
What movie?
You want me to see if he's in this movie?
No, I
He's
just want
on
to see
that
what he
movie.
looks like. That is
No,
not
that's not who I was.
who I'm thinking of. Matt Damon is who I was
That's
thinking of.
That's Matt Dillon.
Look up Matt Dillon sheriff.
But I'm pretty sure I
He
said,
said Matt Damon, not Matt Dillon.
no. I said Matt Dillon at
Starring
first,
Matt
They
Dillon.
both
but I
did.
think I said Matt Dillon because I was saying Matt and looking at Dillon.
Oh. Pretty sure it's Matt Dillon because he plays a sheriff in the old old
Matt
Western
Damon.
movies.
Matt
I know who Matt Dillon.
Matt Damon,
You
Matt
just said
Damon,
Matt
Matt
Yeah,
Damon.
him.
Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke. But that's the name of the actual character,
Yeah, Matt Dillon.
not the actor. Okay, who played him?
I can't remember.
Well,
I used to watch that. a lot.
Tasha's looking at it.
Probably like John Wayne or something.
John Wayne.
Hmm.
Quiet. One of the funniest things that I ever got to witness was when Claudia, my little sister, like her favorite cowboy was John Wayne for years. Like she loved John Wayne. And then me and Tasia were talking one day, and like John Wayne's dead, and she's like, "No, he's not." It was like John Wayne's been dead your whole life. Like he has never been alive.
James Honest.
Yeah, I don't know that name. That would be a name for Pawpaw. Pawpaw would be like, yeah, I know him. He was in this movie, this movie, this movie. If you want like old Western knowledge of the movie
He
era,
doesn't watch them anymore though.
he still knows every one of them
Why doesn't he watch them?
because my mom complains. June 11th.
See, I've seen that
1979.
guy in shows.
That's John Wayne.
That's John Wayne.
Of course, you've seen John Wayne
I've
in
seen that
shows.
guy a
He
lot.
does what westerns? He did
He did a
John
crap.
Wayne.
He did a crap ton of westerns.
He didn't do the Wagon Trail, did he? I don't think so. That looks like him, but I don't think it is.
Who's Wagon Trail?
But see, I prefer Clint Eastwood.
Western show.
Like the band.
Really?
No. Clint Eastwood just always made me happier. John
Song,
Wayne.
not band.
John Wayne was like, look how
What'd
happy
you
I
say?
am. He was angry and gruff, but like,
He was in Dark Command, Reap the Wild Wind, Wake of the Red Witch, Fort Apache, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, Rio Grande, Red River, Flying Tigers, The Fighting Seabees.
you're going to be reading for a while.
They were expendable.
Okay, so we're on the country like
Sands
side,
of
right?
Iwo Jima,
Can we all agree Zach Top sucks?
Yes.
Quiet
we can
Man,
agree Zach Top
The
sucks.
Searchers,
Who the
Rio
heck
Bravo,
is that top?
The most terrible singer. Everybody likes him because he remind him of
The Comancheros, The
What's
Man
Jack-
Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Alan
True
Jackson?
Grit.
Alan
No.
Jackson.
True Grit.
That's-
That's the
that's-
one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Hang on.
That's one of the most famous.
Listen to
The
this
Longest
song
Day
real quick.
in Harm's
just
Way,
like-
The Shootist.
Do you want her to look it up on there?
You won't be able to split it, will you?
So many. What am I looking up?
I
I
don't
got-
know.
I'm
Don't worry
looking
about it.
up
They're
right
going to play it on here.
I
They're like, everybody needs to agree that this artist sucks, but I don't know the artist, so they're going to play the artist.
Take your one off. and just-
This seems rude.
He's great at guitar.
yeah.
I mean, he can keep a tune, but he's in the wrong genre.
Alan Jackson. That's who they think he sounds like.
He
a little
looks
bit.
like a little bit like Alan Jackson.
No, I mean like that's he's not a bad singer, but I think his voice would fit like a different genre better. Alan Jackson. I'm trying to remember what Alan Jackson looked like.
Well, I'll look
See,
up
but
Alan
listen to
Jackson
the
up.
song.
I mean, I know what he looks like. I'm just picturing it in my
Just
head.
like listen.
We're
to
gonna
the
go down to the
chorus.
Chattahoochee.
Like the chorus. Like, bro, you're rich. You don't work. You write music. Late for what work?
And don't get me wrong, I like Alan Jackson because that's what I grew up with.
Yeah, but
Zach Top?
Zach Top is.
I'm sorry, no.
I like when I ask someone what do they listen to, and they're like, "Oh, country," and I'm like, oh, "Okay, what's your favorite song?" And they're like, "Something by Zach Top." I'm like, "You don't like country. You don't."
Well, I mean, that's
appreciate good
that's
music."
actually like closer to what country was when I was a kid.
You know, that I would say that's country. It's just not. I don't.
It's
like
not
it.
good.
I don't necessarily. There's some country music that I like, but like I prefer like the ballads. And
I prefer soul in the song. I sleep like a baby. Shut up. No one cares. So annoying. I hate Zach
I
Top.
know
My
it's
wife cut my balls off.
I know it's stupid. I like the.
That's the
I'm getting
Loretta
into the
Bobbitt
poetry
song.
stuff.
Poetry.
I have always wanted
like folk.
to run into an emergency
Same.
room with like fake blood all over me and like just something covered in a rag, but make sure it's floppy and have blood coming down my hand and just run into the emergency room and be like, put it back! And just see how they react.
They just walk out.
You know that they'd freak plumb out. Be like, oh my God, what do I...
Yeah, and then they make you pay them.
No, they'd probably laugh their tail ends off.
They'd be like, "That'll be $6,000 for coming in the door."
And like, I know you're an adult now, but like,
Maybe.
he's not. But like medical bills, when I was younger and like when we were first married and junk, you went to the hospital sent you one bill. That bill paid all the doctors, the anesthesiologist, paid everybody, right? Now you go to the hospital sends you a bill, the anesthesiologist sends you a bill, 4 different doctors send you a bill, some janitor down the road that you never even cleaned your daggum room sends you. Like you get 52 bills from one hospital visit. Instead of going to the hospital, they handle all that and get, you know.
Apparently, there's ways to like you can make them pull up everything they're charging you for.
Yes, you can give me the itemized list. And you can look on there and go, that aspirin is not a $500 aspirin.
Yeah, and you have to do that for a lot of doctors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the lawsuits and crap against them and all the stuff they've allowed. And when Obamacare got passed and like all the regulations they have, it's very hard for them to make anything.
I don't care. You don't need to be charging people for something.
Well, then that's what I'm saying. If they can't keep their business afloat, because like a lot of them pay a absurd amount for malpractice insurance because of the amount of lawsuits. And like I understand some lawsuits are needed, but not all of them. So like, you know, it's a weird world to be in. I think we should go back to like the Medicine Man and like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
I want to go back to the trading and all that gold.
Like bartering and yeah, I loved bartering. See, that's how Mama paid for most of her. Like Mom and Daddy, we bartered everything. Like all my doctor's visits when we was a kid, my haircuts, like we did work for our stuff. Like we didn't trade cash for things. So like some of that needs to be gotten back to.
It's like most of the westerns are like, hey, I'll give you these 2 elk I shot. You give me that gun or whatever, that wheat. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something stupid.
But I mean, that's because money is printed and minted and all this crap to show a value. Like it's a placeholder for something. So like if I sell you this Coke or no, Full Throttle for $5, I'm saying this $5 Coke is worth this $5 bill. So it's just a placeholder for some like values and goods.
That's what it's worth.
But if you come up to me and you're like, hey, I've got such and such, or I've got a quarter of a cow. I know you haven't been using that, and like I need that piece of equipment. I will trade you that piece of equipment for the quarter of the cow. It's the same thing as using money. It's just using something that's actually valuable.
Told you. That's just her telling me that that's
Oh.
what your mom said.
Okay.
But it's okay. I know that you have a bad memory, so I'm betting your mom probably. I'm guessing you got that from her. So
Oh, 100%.
yeah. So I'm guessing she got home and was like, whatever, and then went to bed. So
Yeah.
I don't blame her. And she delivers mail, which is a terrible job. So
What in the heck just happened?
Don't worry about it.
we were talking about the weed eating down at the driveway.
Yeah.
Dylan, his mom said she'd give Dylan the money. So I asked him, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't even know that."
I don't know.
And I was showing him that she said it, and I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. But I was just
You'll get it someday.
We'll see them tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll do things tomorrow that are
Yeah.
worth things.
It's supposed to rain tomorrow, though.
It's supposed to rain all the time.
It's supposed to rain all this week.
I will say this, like, as we're going to junior high camp next week, like, I looked at the weather. The high is supposed to be like 72.
I think I'm gonna be working a lot at that pool.
It's supposed to be
I'm just gonna
beautiful.
sit. It's such an easy job. Like, here's my problem, right? Usually, I don't want to work it because they're like, "Oh, on your breaks you can get in or whatever, blah blah blah, this and that." I don't want to swim. There's too many people there. No thanks. If I have to jump in and save a kid, what's the lifeguard there for?
What if all the kids are dying? You got to jump in and save them all.
I'm not All Might.
That's when you're like,
Right.
who's the favorite?
No, I like, but a pair of shorts, some sandals, and just sitting in one of those comfy chairs
You can't be sleeping.
watching people swim.
Why do you
Kind of
think?
sounds weird.
Why do you think I like the Gaga pit in the basketball court? You kick back in one of them cool
I
Adirondack
think they
chairs.
said we can sign up for that at junior high camp. I could be wrong.
But yeah, you kick back in one of those chairs, watch everybody play, run around. Like,
Isn't that great? That means I can.
do not sign up for the fishing pond.
It's terrible.
Good gracious! And go to the fishing pond. Like Dylan, you like fishing, right?
It's not bad.
You know how to do the hooks and everything. Last time I touched a fishing
Kind of.
pole, I was a child. And like they signed me up for the fishing pond, and I go down there, and all these kids are like, what do I do? I'm like, dude, I don't freaking know. It's like, here, I know how to tie a knot. Like, I'll tie your hook on real quick. But like, as far as like where to cast, how to catch a fish, I catch them with dynamite and nets. Like, I don't know how to
Same.
do it anyways. But then luckily that one dude that was there that had like all his tackle with him and everything, he wasn't signed up for anything. And it happened to be the one time I was there, and he pulled up. He's like, I got you, bro. Like, thank you, sir. Because I don't know jack about
Like,
fishing.
my thing is, like, these kids come down here and they want to pull it, but then they're like, I don't want to touch the fish.
Wait,
Or
so
the
wait.
worm.
The person who like goes over the fishing, they have to tie each and everybody's pole because they don't know how.
If the kids don't know how, yeah. Now, there are some
No,
kids,
they're
like a
all
couple kids
set
come
up. Their poles are set up, but you have to worm it for them.
by, if they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And you have to get the fish off for them.
And you're supposed to be trying to like repair the poles that they break, the
Yeah.
kid, and all this
So
stuff.
you know what you do? You do what Aaron did. You go, I'm gonna show you this once, and after that, you're doing.
And then you're sitting there and you're like, oh, well, what's wrong with you? And the kid turns around and is like, I think I need some help. And you're like, why do you have a hook through your thumb?
Hey,
I think you need to go see the nurse.
be all right. I had a hook go through my ear. We're okay.
Cool thing though was like, it was one of those kids who just looking at him, I thought he'd be freaking out. But he was like, yeah, I might need some help. And like he had that thing deep in there, like come in and out.
I had one of the Yo's boys. I've had them for 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
They have the chillest kids.
Well, like they're chill.
How does that even happen though?
Chill kids.
No, like the
He
hook.
How do you have kids?
Sure. How do you have kids, Andrew?
All right, Tasia. You're going to want to cover your ears
Actually,
for this one.
men don't, biologically speaking.
anyway. But
If you are having a kid, you might need to look at your birth certificate.
no, they're just so like. You ask them to do anything, they're like, no, whatever. They don't talk. They talk, but they're not gonna like speak over anybody. They're quiet. They're peaceful. They're not trying to get upset with anybody.
Yeah, but look at
All
all
the problems through the cabin, they're never involved.
look at all their parents though. Like they're all chill.
I've never really talked to any of their parents, but I know that they're
I run with
very
most of them.
successful and very.
Two of them's parents are the only two people that I trust to straight razor my head. And like I know anybody watching this is gonna look at me and go, "You've never had your head straight razored, you freaking hippie." But I used to be bald, and like they could straight razor a head, and I trusted them not to mess me up. Matter of fact, one of them's shaving at one point, and somebody rings a pull ball off one of them metal poles in the middle, and I mean it was like everybody in the building jumped, but me and him. He never flinched. And I'm like, all right, that's it. That's good. A barber that we used to go to church with was talking about, it wasn't him that did it. It was a guy he was working with, right? I think,
Yeah.
like, he is shaving his neck with a straight razor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a firefighter, and the fire alarm goes off across the street. And the guy shaving his neck is coming up like this, and the firefighter leaps. And it's like, that's why with a straight razor, you better make sure you aren't stupid, and the guy doing it is also good. Because it's kind of a dangerous, really, 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 really sharp blade.
Well, he hopped up on instinct.
But that's what I'm
he had been
saying.
Trained to do.
Yes, but when you
Yeah.
sit down in a chair and somebody has a sharp knife at your neck on purpose, you have to mentally tell yourself, I am not going to move. I don't care if a plane falls through the sky. I'm not going to move.
Yeah, fair.
If someone cuts a log that weighs twice what you do and drops it at your face from 40 foot in the air, you don't move.
Hey, Dylan, you know that tree right there? You want to climb it and cut branches?
Sure.
Okay. See,
Right by the power lines.
Told you Dylan wouldn't care.
I don't
Look,
care.
it
doesn't
involves
matter
a
if he-
chainsaw and heights. Dylan doesn't care.
I like.
You
those
said
two
heights,
things.
chainsaws. Now, if you'll throw in Godzilla, I'm in.
Now, if Andrew's standing right underneath me, see,
Yo, I got to give you a target. Yeah, I see how it is.
No, but the branches are so big, I figured me or you could get on the big branches, and we just need that one side trimmed. And if you went to falling, there's so many branches.
If you went to
just-
falling,
there's
yeah.
one rib,
Yep.
bang, there's the
Yeah.
other.
Well, no, you
it
could
would
just
break
catch
like
yourself.
everything. It'd be like the plinko on The Price is
I,
Right.
I was thinking more like, you'd catch yourself on one branch, but you would probably break every rib.
Most likely.
Yeah.
I'll be done when y'all want to do it.
Or he'd catch himself.
Today?
Later, sure.
He'd land on it split legged first.
We can see how hard it'll be.
Or you want to climb into the tree during the rain?
Is it rain?
Yeah, that's what I was
Let's
making the
wait
joke.
till
Y'all wanna
we
do
get
it?
a
Y'all wanna do it now?
lightning storm.
Hey, I can
Then
do
you
that.
can climb up there. Okay, quick question.
Yes.
You guys all heard the story of Benjamin Franklin, right? Discovering electricity, right?
Yeah.
Out there flying a kite and
Yeah.
everything. On your honest opinion, was he flying that kite or was one of his slaves flying that kite?
I always thought he had it tied to something.
I'd be willing to bet. Because, like, the school books
Can't lightning just like
disintegrate your butt? Yeah.
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You're flying this kite to get it struck by lightning to prove your theories. And, like, all the stories, and, like, if you look at the, like, cartoon drawings of it for, like, children's books and stuff, he's flying a kite. Bull crap.
Wasn't he a brilliant inventor already?
Yeah, but that's what I'm
There's
saying.
no way.
I guarantee you, he's like, yo, bro, come here. Hold this. Go fly this kite. And he's like, why? He's like, because I said so. And he's like, okay. And then he's sitting there drinking his beer that he just brewed, smoking a joint because he smoked a lot of weed. Like a lot of the founding fathers were very big
Fathers.
potheads. A lot of them were very big potheads, and a lot of them were Masons and pagans.
Hey, there came that Scottish accent in there.
Fathers.
Yes, don't make me get so father out on you. But anyway,
Fathers. The founding fathers.
but like
It's American son.
he was sitting in his shed sipping beer, looking out the window. I don't.
I mean,
think-
even if he was outside with him, I
he
think
wasn't holding that kite.
how
I don't
what
think
is
the,
lightning?
I don't
What's
think it
the
would go down that
like
string, would it?
smallest
The smallest lightning.
amount of voltage a lightning can put off?
That's our Google expert. I like how well she's actually started listening because we ask questions, she just starts Googling. You are doing awesome. You are the sexiest producer the world has ever seen. And they've never seen you because I ain't going to let the world see my sexy wife.
From lightning?
Yes. Or how many, like, what's the average voltage in lightning?
No, that hurts.
So we need stronger tape. Motorcycles are dangerous.
Smallest voltage from lightning strikes, according to research, can be in the range of 25 million volts.
Yeah, you're dead.
Mhm.
You're dead. There's
No, there's a lot of people that's been struck by lightning and lived.
I don't know. Did you see that female,
With
bro?
lightning bolts potentially
flying a
carrying-
kite in the air with a freaking. You're so screwed.
I don't know.
A million, two. What did you say? 2 million
Benjamin
volts.
Franklin was just.
Hang on. With lightning bolts potentially carrying as little as 1 million volts.
That's still.
As little as
And
1
as-
million volts.
And
Look up-
as
look up-
much as 1 billion.
Look up
volts.
how many volts to like fry your nervous system. Just
There's
fry
not
you.
that many. A lot of it depends on the path it takes. Like when me and Adam got struck back here.
It was raining, right?
Yeah.
Most
In
likely.
the story. So you're
You're
in a
gonna
pu-
be grounded,
You're
yeah.
in a puddle of water, right? You're in a puddle of water, so you're grounded, right? With a kite made to attract electricity.
Will it travel down the string though?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it'd do all types of crazy crap to you.
If he
But that's-
designed it that way, probably.
But that's what I'm saying. When me and Adam were back here building chicken coop and we got struck, like we didn't get struck by the lightning. We caught the static that traveled through the building off the side of a lightning bolt. And I was sore for a week. Like when it hit, we could not move. It welded the wire together.
Heck yeah.
So like a direct hit,
And people have survived that, which is
Uh-huh.
crazy.
I have always thought if I get struck by lightning and live, I want them lightning scars. Have you ever seen them?
Oh yeah.
They go all down your veins and nervous. Like that's freaking
I've
awesome.
never seen that. But, if I get struck by lightning, I better become the Flash. That's what I'm saying.
I better become.
You got to
like,
get struck by like
Electro Man or
meta
something.
energy lightning.
No.
Google is very vague about it. It basically depends on the path that it takes, is what it's saying.
Yeah, and
Can't
that's
really
that's the thing. Even the path through your system that it
Yeah.
takes. Like
Like,
Well, that's what I meant.
why
the
you
path
can't
through your
get
body.
shot with lightning in the heart in Avatar or something. Like, come on, bro. You don't even need your heart. Like, when you redirect, you got to go around your heart and everything. Like, come on. What
That's
is
like-
it like?
I've known some electricians that
Malachi, if you could successfully get struck by lightning and redirect it,
Bro, you're looking at.
I will give you $1 million.
because that's what he's going to make off the video of you getting struck by lightning and redirecting it. You're going to be dead, but he'll like give it to us for you.
I bet I could build something to redirect a lightning bolt.
Oh my God!
No,
Here
see,
we go.
If I ever get struck by lightning and I'm not able to shoot
No, think
lightning
about it.
out of my body, I'm not gonna be happy.
I'm just saying I want the scars.
Scars look cool, but imagine being able to shoot lightning.
Imagine being the dude down in Florida. Look up,
What?
The scars.
No, I have no
yeah,
idea
look
what
up the
you're
scars, but then also look up the dude in Florida that got struck like 5 or 6 times in his life. Because I'd like to. He got, I think it was 3 or 4 times in his lifetime in random different areas got struck by lightning.
I don't
Then
know
they
about-
buried his butt and it struck his grave. Like 2 or 3 times struck his
Yeah,
grave. Like
the
something in
universe
that
hates
dude-
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy has something in his system.
yeah. Like look at the freaking scars and junk going down
I
it.
can't.
Yeah, I
see
can't
that.
really see that either.
Make
Why don't
one.
make it bigger?
Right click on one and click open in a different. Open a new tab. Open image in a new tab. Go down, 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 down.
There it is.
Now go to that tab. Now click the
I was about to say I still can't
hold-
see it.
hold. Hey, hold Control, and hit the plus symbol. Yeah, see how it like follows the veins and capillaries in your system.
I can see some of it.
No,
but-
and that's a crappy one. There's one dude that like it went all down his back, and it looks like a daggum like when you see one of the Joshua trees, like from like the drawings and stuff. It
Yeah.
looks like that.
So
Oh.
basically, you get cool lightning.
Yeah,
tattoos.
yeah. I got struck by lightning and didn't even get freaking cool scars. Like I'm mad about it.
I've never been struck by lightning.
I don't think I want to be struck.
Well,
by
I've
lightning.
been the.
Can you see that one?
Yeah, I mean look at that, and that's the path it took.
Yeah. So what's it doing? Just frying your skin?
Uh huh.
I mean, that is a 1 million. That's probably like the least.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
That's probably the least they got struck. So
And
that's
there's-
1 million. of,
There's
like,
been instances of people like
bam.
when I'd be out fencing with my grandfather, if there was lightning anywhere near, like he'd stop immediately. But like there's been instances of people like fencing and like the fence gets struck way down there, but it doesn't kill them, hurt the heck out of you. I think a few of them it's killed over the years. But like there's, huh?
What was the second thing?
The guy who got struck by lightning 6 times.
Yeah. See if you can figure out like what's the human being that's been struck by lightning the most. And does God hate you or does he like you? He's just giving you a little bit of extra energy for the day.
You need to be in my kingdom now.
That's how Enoch got took. He's like, he was walking with God and then he wasn't because God took him. Yeah, God smoked him. Probably want to go off of images.
Were those gravestones?
Person struck by lightning the most and who survived all the strikes was Roy Sullivan, a park ranger in the Shenandoah National Park, Virginia. He was struck 7 times between 1942 and 1977, and he is recognized by Guinness World Records for this
At
record.
least he's recognized.
Yeah, but think like that would be like I've had the most like limbs just fall off my body for no reason. Like, what type of record do you want to have? I failed the most times. You know, like I hold the record because I took my ACT 100 times and never made above a 0. You know what I mean? Like that's not the type of record you want.
That'd be me for real.
Every time I walk outside, birds attack me. I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records, but my life sucks.
I'd walk out of the SAT and they'd be like, it's not possible to get that low of a score.
You go take an IQ test and they're like,
No, my IQ.
"Are you a rock?"
Are you a rock? I would love to take an IQ test.
The problem with IQ test is they're basically not really testing your intelligence. They're testing your logic and correlation abilities. Like they test how well you assimilate information,
what's the one
and they can
test
make the connections
It's just
together.
like, what kind of screwdriver is this?
That's the ASVAB for the military.
Yeah.
They'll be like,
They're like, okay, you're going to hold a gun and protect our country. What's
What
a screwdriver?
what that is an aptitude test that was specifically designed to see what part they want you to go into. Because like if you come in there and like you nail every tool and all that stuff,
You're
but
gonna be
then
an
but then you
engineer.
suck on the other stuff, they're like, okay, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be working on something. But if you come in there and you suck at that, but like everything else is pristine, they're going to be like, we don't want you working on our planes, but you could stand on the deck with a flashlight and tell them where to go. You know,
That would suck. I wouldn't.
you know how funny it would be? I can't dance because I'm white and like I don't have any rhythm. But like I would love to learn me some cool little flashlight. Be like, get that plane out of here.
But you'd have to be good at it, and you couldn't do that. They'd
Whatever
probably
they
sit
were
there and
told
yell
me
at
to
you.
do, like whatever these mean, I would do the complete opposite.
And Dylan got dishonorable discharge for landing 7 planes in the ocean.
You know how like precise them fools have to be?
Yeah, because
Because like when they land on that ship, they've got to catch that cable.
they're going as fast as they can.
And if they don't catch that cable, they have to yeet it as fast as possible, throttle, and get back off the ship and come around.
Keep full throttle while landing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. No, as soon as you catch that cable, you start backing off
Well,
when you
yeah.
hit the deck.
But if
Whoa,
you miss,
But
hang on.
you're
You
already-
said I'm on the ocean.
You're already backing off when you hit the deck, okay? You're full throttle till you come in because they don't fly on, like, actual aerodynamic principles. You're basically flying a guided missile. But, like, as soon as you touch the deck, you start backing off your throttle so that the cable, you're not, like, putting 225,000 pounds per thruster on the cable. But if you miss that cable, you don't know that for a split second. So you're backing off. But you've got a couple seconds to go, and go the other way. That is the coolest thing about them planes. Like, they do not fly because they fly. They fly because, like, each one of them burning, or the jet engines on the rear, I think average is like 250,000 pounds of thrust.
the amount of G-force.
Like, they're literally just propelling you so fast that the wings can control you lifting up in the air. That's why they got to be going so fast, because if you're going a lot slower, you don't fly. Think about it. Yeah, you talking about the G-force. Can you imagine? Like, I've been on some rides and stuff that, like, 3 or 4 Gs. I've been in one of the things that slings you around, you know, and all that stuff, and, like, that's rough. But, like, sitting in one while nothing is going on is rough. Imagine being like in a dogfight situation where you're in the air pulling high G maneuvers and trying to survive and shoot somebody else down.
Didn't like pilots sit on their helmets back in the day?
That's helicopter pilots.
Helicopter
In
pilots.
Vietnam. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's how you know a Vietnam pilot. If you get in like a plane with them, I've known a couple that like would get in and they would, like, you'd see them with their hat and they'd put it in the seat because they don't have helmets, you know, because they're civilian now. But I'm like, what are you doing? And they'd be like, that's just habit. Sorry.
Well, I don't know. I don't get it.
Because they would shoot at the helicopters.
Yeah.
You
What
put the helmet under you so it would block the bullets.
what good's the helmet gonna do in your head or shooting at your butt?
Yeah. Fair enough.
I went to church with a dude years ago. I wish I could remember his name and find the article and everything because it's fascinating. But like, he was in the jungles of Vietnam. He had contacted his plane guy or whatever, and the plane guy's like, dude, I'm going to land, but I can't stop. it's too hot. Like there's gunfire everywhere. He's like, so you figure out how to get on this plane, I'll get you out of there. Other than that, like that's the only option you got. So he hits the runway and is bouncing across the runway, and this fool comes running out and just jumps up and lands on the like landing gear, and literally holds onto the landing gear for like a couple 100-mile flight until they get back, because he's like, that's my only option to survive, and I'm getting the heck out of here. Another Vietnam vet that I worked with, right? Now, this dude was crazy, right? They messed him up. Loved him to death. Good dude, security guard. But he was like, hey, you want to hear about my first kill in Vietnam? And I'm like, sure, why not? And so we're sitting out there. I'm smoking cigarettes after work. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. And he's telling me, he's like, okay. He's like, so I'm in Vietnam. You know, like we've seen a little bit of combat, but like I haven't got any kills or whatever. And he's like, I go to the bathroom at night. And he's like, my dumb butt didn't take any of my stuff. You know, I didn't have my gun or whatever. I just wandered off in the woods. He gets attacked. He's like, me and this dude's tying up. I can't figure out like what's going on. He finally finds a stick somewhere and jabs it up his rear and kills him. And it's like, I didn't think anybody would believe me. So I took my shoelaces off and tied the stick to his ankles where I could drag him back to camp. And I'm sitting here looking at him thinking, bull crap. And he's like, with the pictures. And I'm like, I knew this fool was crazy. This is the same fool that we're sitting there talking one night and flashing lights and sirens go off like everywhere. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, that's from the ink plant. We got to get down there. That's a fire alarm. And I'm like, okay. So like we rush down there and it's me and a couple buddies, and we're with him and we go all through the ink plant, right? And he's like, I guess it wasn't a fire. So we get out the back door and we're standing in the parking lot talking again. He goes, oh yeah, if you ever in there and you see the door starting to slam shut, he's like, you got about 30 to 45 seconds to get out of that building. I'm like, do what? He's like, yeah, it's a carbon monoxide suppressant system. He said if it actually detects a real fire and wasn't a false alarm, it went off because one of the pumps was going out, the pressure dropped in the sprinkler system. But most of the ink area, like actual manufacturing area, didn't have sprinkler systems. It was this carbon monoxide system that sealed everything off, and you had a whole room full of carbon monoxide tanks that would flood that building to displace all the oxygen. So if you're in there and you don't get out fast enough, you literally have no oxygen, you're going to die. And I'm looking at him like, bro, this is something you should have told us before we run into the building that the alarms are going off in. He's like, I didn't think about it. And I'm like, yeah, you're in your 70s and you've lived a long life, but like, I'm 19, bro. Come on. Yeah, good dude, though. Like, hilarious. Guy pulled by one day, black dude pulled by one day, and he looked at him and he goes, man, your rims are a little dirty. And the guy's like, excuse me? Pulls around the shack, parks, gets out, details his rims and his entire car right there after a 12-hour shift. And then pulls over next to him and goes, what about now? Guy looks at it and he's like, much better, looking good. The guy drives off. He's like, I knew that would get him. He's like, he comes in here every day. He has the cleanest car in the parking lot, best looking car in the parking lot, always meticulous. He's like, but about once every month or two, I got to say something, because he'll stop and clean it every time. And he's like, I love drinking my coffee, watching that idiot clean his car. And I'm like, what? Some of the security guards up there, I don't know how they functioned as people, much less security guards, but they did a very good job at being security guards. Worked with another guy that was 6 foot. He was 6'4" or 5. He's a big old boy, like taller than me and bigger than me. Like just had solid black contacts, covered his whole eyes because he had a condition where his eyes were permanently dilated. And they told me to go back there to find him one time. Of course, like I've seen stuff all my life. Like I don't mess with demons. I'm out, you know. And I'm going back there, and there's this giant bald-headed dude that sounds like this right here. And I look up, and all I see is black holes for eyes. And I'm like, nope. I left. And I got back up front. I'm like, guys, you didn't tell me that there's a demon in the warehouse. And they're like, he's not a demon. I'm like, his eyes are solid. Like, there are black holes in his head, man. What are you talking about? They're like, oh, that's just contact lenses and blah, blah. I'm like, you need to tell people this first. You warn people if they're going to go to somebody that's going to scare the crap out of them. Like when I went back there and there was a woman in the warehouse that her eyes did this all the time.
I know people like
Her
that.
pupils did this.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that. Do you know what the problem is when you don't know that? The key is, look right here, like in between the eyes. Don't look at their eyes, because if you look at their eyes, you're talking to them and you're doing this, and you can't help it. You can't not do it, and you get back up there and you're like, that woman was really mad at me, and nobody warned me that my face was going to be doing this. And my supervisor's like, oh yeah, my bad. Just look her in between the eyes, you'll be fine. And like, I never did it again. But I'm like, you're supposed to tell me this beforehand. I don't want to look like a jackass, because you just didn't warn me that her eyes were flopping all around in her head all the time.
Supervisor. That'd be a good supervisor.
I had some pretty good supervisors.
Yeah, but if they get a good laugh, why would they tell you that?
Oh, yeah, they did get a good laugh. One of our supervisors come in one time, and he was walking kind of like stiff-legged, and he had been out riding horses all weekend. But somebody asked him, they're like, hey, man, what's wrong with you? And he was like, man, I was out riding horses with Gary, or I was out with Gary all weekend, now my butt hurts. And the whole, like all 15 people near him went silent and just was staring at him. And he was like, what? He's like, we was riding horses. We was riding horses. And like, he didn't live that down for the rest of like 5 or 6 years he worked with us. He'd be like, hey, you been hanging out with Gary again? You walking kind of stiff. He's like, shut up. So yeah, you have some fun in some factories, you know.
Oh, I know.
But that's the key.
I'm the guy who says a lot of weird stuff.
But that's
I didn't mean that.
But that's the key to getting work done. Like if you're at an environment and your morale sucks, and you can't, like, there's a difference. Like you can't goof off seriously, because like where I used to work, like the maintenance guys would regularly fill like containers with like the acetylene, and then drill just a tiny little hole and light it and shoot them across the factory. So like there are some things you shouldn't be doing. Like there's a certain level of horseplay that should stop. But then there's a whole lot of it that's just harmless fun, you know, calling names to people, fussing at each other, just goofing off. Like that should be allowed to a certain extent. Because if everybody has to just sit there and be serious all the time, nobody's going to want to work.
Here's what I think.
My think?
Overtime kills morale.
It depends. It depends.
If
like,
you need the money, it doesn't.
yeah.
But if you live with your parents, and you don't need that 3 extra hours of work, and they're like, oh, by the way, we're pulling 10-hour shifts for the next 2 weeks. It's like no one wants to be there.
I never minded overtime. I got towards the end where I didn't want to work it just because I'd rather be with my family. And I'd rather be more with my family
But
when I
you
was younger.
needed the money.
But yeah, I needed the money. But what drove me nuts about my factory over the years is when I first started, if we was on overtime, it's 7/12. And I was a material handler and a dispatcher. Most of the time I'd work 7/14, 7/15s. Like I worked all the time. But then after a few years, they started doing this. We're going to work 12s during the week. And then we still got to work the weekend, but we're going to come in here and work 8s on the weekend. So you get used to waking up 4 hours early for work. You get that ingrained into you. And then they're like, okay, now that 4 hours you can sleep. No, you can't. Your eyes spring open every morning. You're sitting there on the weekends going, I got 4 hours of sitting here staring at the ceiling before I can go into work. Because them idiots only want to work 8 hours. If you need me to be there on the weekend, let me pull my 12. Let me get my money. And that's why they did it. Because when you hit Sunday and you're going on double time, it made them pay a lot less double time. But it's like, why would you do that to us? You're cheating us out of money just to get, you know.
That's another thing. A lot of factories seem to just be really stingy for like money they don't need. It's like, do you need that extra 1,000 you pay me every 2 weeks, or that extra $200 I make? Seems like they're super stingy.
The problem is they're not. But a lot of the people making the decisions don't really have a good grasp of what's going on. Like a lot of the finance people that give you a certain amount of man hours you can work, like you have to balance it out. You have to make enough to make money and pay your people. But a lot of them just waste their time and energy doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like I worked at a factory one time that they started hitting like production every day at 8 hours. 7.5 hours with their breaks. They were hitting the production that was needed, and everything was chill. They got mad about that because they couldn't keep them people there for 12 hours. At 8 hours, it was send them home or find something else for them to do.
Yeah.
So the engineers redesigned the line and come in there and like, okay, so you're not going to be able to hit your numbers anymore. And they started hitting their numbers again in 8 hours. And they were like, okay, they kept redesigning the line to make the work harder.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but like it's the factory mentality of like, why would you do that to somebody? If I come up to you while you're working on a car and I'm like, hey, I'm going to take half your tools away so it takes longer. Ha ha, son.
When
That's
they're
a
like,
jerk
"Ha
move.
your car's not fixed because I'm probably fixing it for you."
Yeah, but you can't do that when it's your job and your livelihood and you got a wife and kids at home or like bills to pay. You know, like there's certain things that they get away with because we've been cheated into this
I
rat
also
race
don't
society.
think a factory should be able to hire under 17 an hour. I honestly under 20.
To me, it depends on what you're doing. I've seen some positions at factories that they paid really well at, and I'm like, you're paying them that much for that?
I think we should, at least we should get like go up because I think they're gonna make.
Well, you
$20
guys are the
minimum.
only plant in America, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Of that company.
The other one's in Canada.
And with all the tariffs and stuff, y'all have to start making a lot more in-house. Like,
Yep. That's what's somewhat slowing us down. Since next week is only 4 days. Memorial Day. I'm not working over.
I used to hate that too. They'd be like, "Oh, we got a holiday coming up, so we got to work all this weekend." I'm like, if you can't figure out your schedule, and you're like, one of the companies I worked at had been in business for 78 years.
Yeah.
78 years of business, actually longer than that, but 78 years under that leader like structure. 78 years, you can't figure out your orders yet. You can't look back over 78 years and get some semblance of how we can smooth things out and make things better. Like all that time in history, on records, in detail of how much you sell every year, how much it usually increases, how much you could get a better sense of what we're going to need by now, for sure. Because we would pull orders like company would call, we need 4 million. Place an order, we'd run all daggone weekend. They'd cancel the order on Sunday night. We don't really need 4 million, we only needed 1 million. So we'd be sending people home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Different supplier or buyer would call, they'd need such the next weekend. We'd do the same crap the next weekend. It's like at a certain point, like I understand we need business, but like, especially at this company, the only place you were going to get what we had was from us, period. Nobody else made it. And if they did, it's getting a crap suit out of them. So it would be okay if someone calls and I'm going to need 4 million by Monday. You're going to say, no, you're not. I'll get you 4 million next week when my guys come back to work. If you don't like that, go get my product somewhere else. Oh, you can't?
Brother Ben.
Yeah, you can't? Sorry about your luck, bro. It's okay to tell somebody to piss off. Like,
That's why I couldn't be in the office or manager because I'd be like, piss off. Okay.
actually,
You're a pushover.
No, because if someone's telling me to do something, I can't do it that week. If they need it that week, and we only have 2 days
I'm not even
left,
gonna
I
lie though.
can't.
The way you explain how your factory runs sometimes just makes me think, what?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, they keep this guy employed for how long that's spending an hour in the bathroom and won't fire him.
he may have bathroom problems.
He doesn't do work. They keep him employed, and now they're complaining because work ain't getting done. And why was that guy not fired?
That's every factory. We had people at our factories over the years that would be like, they've been here for 20 years and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I've never seen them do anything. Literally, their manager walked up to them, asked them to do something. They told them to piss off, walked off. Ain't doing nothing for you. That person needs to be fired.
Yeah.
Like, you're not asking them to do something. Like, I've had managers come up and ask me to do things that were dangerous or things that would get me in trouble if things went wrong, and I've been like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not signing your hazmat shipment unless I go down there and actually inspect it myself. Sorry. But, like, that is a legitimate, we have a problem. If something goes wrong, it's on me type thing. Or it could get me hurt or in trouble. That's understandable. But, like, I've had people be like, okay, well, guys, we need to sweep and clean up. Well, I ain't going to sweep and clean up. That ain't my job. You're making $22 an hour. Shut up and sweep the floor. Like, your job is a whole lot harder than pushing a broom, and they're offering to pay you for just pushing a broom. Shut up and push a broom.
Yeah. I wish I could have that job for pushing a broom, but no, my job actually, I have to do something because I got to keep the stuff going.
When they would tell me to clean, I'd be like, okay, I'll clean.
Yeah.
I'll spick and span this sucker all day, especially at the ink plant. I loved the ink plant because everything was stainless. And so I would bring in one of my car buffers and some flits and some WD right? For years, everybody would be in there with like hand towels and like wiping everything down. But then, like when I started, I'm like, hey guys, I got a couple car buffers. The guy's like, hey, I got a couple of those too. I'm like, so we'd all bring them in around Christmas when everything would slow down. Man, that place would shine. You cut the lights on, and it was like, no. Now we'd ruin it 2 weeks later. It'd take us a week to just trash that place.
Takes you a week. Takes us a couple days.
Well, the problem is when I say trashed, I mean like there's nowhere in the entire building you can spray alcohol and it not turn blue. Because a couple of our blue dyes, particularly, and our dark purple dyes, they're lighter than air.
Yeah.
So, like, if I go with just a little handful, you give it 15, 20 minutes, you can walk 2,428 feet to the other end of the building and spray alcohol on the wall, and it's going to turn blue, period. And it's terrible. There's some of them that, like, we had one dye that was $168 a pound. It come in 44-pound boxes,
Yeah.
right?
Boxes?
Right. It come in a box. It had 44 pounds in it, right? Okay. You ready for the math on this? I got to find my calculator. There we go. Let's see. 168 times 44. Every box was $7,400. It come on a pallet with 40 boxes, right? So you're looking at a pallet that's worth a lot of money. But $168 a pound. If you left it open and it had any opening in the top, because it being lighter than air, any breeze over the top of the box, you'd lose 5-6 pounds out of a box in a week or two if you didn't have it shut right. And so, like, we lost a
Are you
lot
wanting
of
to read
inventory.
an article, Don?
Huh?
Are you wanting to read something?
No, I was looking at something. My bad.
Have you got it pulled up?
He's had an article open for like a good 15 minutes.
Why didn't he read it?
That's just something I was curious about.
Uh-oh. What's the curiosity?
We were talking about military people. It was like back there, so I was just wondering.
What?
Curiosity
USS
kills the
Raton. That's
cow.
what I was looking at.
Okay, what is that?
Sub ship.
That did what?
Take a pee.
Ship things.
Is it the ship from the Philadelphia experiment?
No. If I'm correct, my old boss, he was on it.
Mm.
So he was. I think he said they were the first responders to the Korean War.
That would suck. Buddy of mine's uncle was on a ship in his youth, and it caught fire. And he run in, like, he saved a bunch of people. But they were like, the only reason you're still alive is because you smoke. The amount of smoke that hit your lungs should have killed you dead. And that's why most of the other people were passed out. He's like, but you have put so much smoke in your lungs that you breathing in all the flames and fumes from the ship didn't hurt you.
I remember that. You told us.
And then he
that.
lived like another 75 years. And so, like, for him, it's like, I think smoking was what his body was supposed to do.
Hey, it worked. I would keep on smoking. Hang on.
Worked with another, or knew another guy at one of the places I used to work at. See, that's like, I am not scared of a lot. But like
I wouldn't be caught on it.
you put me on a boat, right? And you go way out in the middle of the ocean. And then you're like, another ship is going to attack you or a
Oh.
plane's going to come attack you.
That's a submarine. My bad.
Is that left or over?
Left.
Okay.
That's submarine.
Oh, submarines is even worse.
Yeah, my bad.
I wouldn't mind going on one, like just to experience it, but I don't know if I'd want to be trapped on one for months on end, running around underwater.
Who's that?
Mr. Ed, my old boss.
That's Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
Let me see that.
That's his ship, not.
No,
The guy.
No, there's also a picture.
What'd he
There's
do?
a picture of him.
What'd he do?
Oh, that's cool.
What'd
He
he?
was on the USS Raton.
Oh, he was just on it. Was he like a pilot or something?
I can't
not a
remember what he
pilot.
did.
Pilot of the ship. You ever been a pilot of the
A
sea?
captain,
Captain.
or like was he just like your average Joe?
I think so.
I mean, I don't care what position you have on a submarine. If you're willing to go in a death tube and travel around underwater for months on end, you got a special level of crazy going
Yeah.
on. Now, would I do
Mr.
it
Ed's funny.
if they asked me to? Probably. If a guy ever comes up to me and is like, no joke, seriously, we're going to Mars. Like, I want you to go to Mars. One-way trip, you're not coming back. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Mr. Ed is like, oh, falling apart. He's
It'll
got
be when I'm much older. Quit your sad face.
his dogs like his dogs whacks him with her hat. His shoulders out. Just whacks his dog with the hat, and it just goes back to listening. It's
Yep.
like, bro, what?
Pretty much.
Walking around with us, what were we doing? Moving hay bales.
Mm-hmm. Picking up the hay bales, throwing them up on the cart so we could stack them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like 80, maybe 90.
Some people are.
It's them 80s farmers, man. They're built different.
Not even farmer.
Hey, the dude we used to go to church with,
Who?
he was like 84. I'm not gonna say his name, but like he was 84. He was older, right? He's the guy that quit running 8 miles a day when he was 80 because his knees were starting to hurt. It's like I can't even walk 8 miles a day at that point in my life, and it was like, dang, must be nice. But he had done that since he was in the military, and then he got out of the military, and he kept that up. That's what I've been telling Malachi. Like, it is a whole lot easier for you to get in shape now and then maintain it and stay in shape than it is for you to be out of shape and then try to get in shape years later.
So I think I remember him actually telling me this story. On the 28th November 1943, Rattan sighted a Rabul-bound Japanese convoy of 5 cargo ships accompanied by 2 escorts. In a submerged attack, Rattan sank 2 of the cargo ships, Hokomaru and Yurimoru, after a severe pounding by the escorts. Rattan escaped. I think I remember that.
And that's some nerve-wracking stuff because if your submarine blows up underwater, you're screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there is no,
No.
look at this, we survived. I mean, you might, but you'd be the one guy that survived, and everybody be going, how are you still alive? Like that one dude that got to the bottom of the ocean and his umbilical cord got ripped, and he's trapped down there for like 30 minutes. No oxygen, nothing.
Umbilical cord.
Yeah, when you deep sea dive and
You gotta
work,
like a-
like you go out, you go to a pressure chamber, then you go to a pressure bale, and then you go from there, and you'll have an umbilical that's got your air, your communications, all your power for your suit and everything. And he was down, and the guidance system for the ship that keeps it stabilized went out, and in rough seas, and so it started dragging the bale that he was hooked to. And then it hung him on the structure, underwater structure they was working on, and snapped it. And the other guy got back to the bale and all, but then when they finally got the ship stabilized, and you're talking about like 20, 30, 40 minutes of him being down there, no oxygen, basically dead. They found him, they got him back up, and he lived. Like, and they're still like, we don't really
I wanna
know
do that.
how you
Deep
lived.
sea welding
'Cause
sounds so
his body was so cold.
That's what they say, but like that long without
Like,
oxygen.
that's the only thing that can remotely kind of make it.
Yeah,
make
they're
sense.
like, maybe his body was cold enough to slow everything down that his brain didn't like die from like oxygen. But like at the same time, it's still like, dang,
Yeah, for sure.
because you know you're laying down there going, yep, Lord, I'll be there in a minute.
deep sea welding.
I hope I'm not already in Sheol where I can't get out.
I'm not gonna be thinking. I'm gonna be freaking out. That's what I would be
Dylan,
doing.
you're not going anywhere near the ocean. Be for
No.
real. Yeah, shut up.
But if I was somehow in that predicament, no, bro.
See, Dylan would be like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going in the ocean. And like, if you become a deep sea welder, and like I get diving certified, and we call Dylan, we're like, hey, we're gonna take you out in the ocean. Dylan would be like, okay. And then
I
as
hate
he's in his tank fixing to jump off, he'd be like, I hate the ocean. This is terrifying. And he'd still jump and do it. You know you would.
Sadly, I think he's right.
Yeah.
Because you're an idiot.
No, because Dylan understands the principle. Like, just because you're scared don't mean you should let it stop you. That's in your Christian walk. A lot of people are like, I'm never supposed to be scared of anything because I got God on my side. God never said you didn't have to be scared. He just said it didn't have to stop you.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, if I look down and there's nothing in my feet, I'm gonna pee my pants.
See,
right
that's
there.
what
Dude,
heights
you're
are
already
like.
wet. It's all right. You're just pissing in the ocean.
The ocean doesn't
Mm.
scare me.
Ocean
The
terrifies me.
deeper we go, the further away I am from heights. Think about that.
I'm perfectly fine with heights, which I find is funny.
Yeah, but you also got to realize, like, look up how much of the ocean has actually been mapped and explored.
75%. I'm pretty
Do I
sure.
need to look it up, or
That's
I know
why.
it's
That's
not.
why I looked at you and said, look it up.
I'm pretty sure.
I know it's not a lot of
It might be
I know there's
25 or
still a lot
75.
that
I can't
hasn't
remember
been.
because I looked it up. I can't remember what it is though. I don't think it's that much. I think it's 25 actually. I might have said 75, but it's either 75 or 25. I can't remember because I hate it. I don't like looking at the ocean. If y'all can't tell.
only a small fraction of the ocean has been explored. While the exact percentage varies depending on the definition of explored, estimates generally range from 5 to 20%. with most of the ocean remaining unmapped, unobserved, and largely unknown.
And
If you-
everybody's like, the megalodon ain't real. I promise you that thing's
If you
real.
actually go with the
That's why
statistics
we're
of
gonna be
like,
a pirate. I'm
not
gonna
only
become a
has it been
pirate.
explored, but it's been mapped. Like the ocean floor has been mapped, LiDAR mapped, all that. It's like 5%. And the ocean's a very, very big place.
That's why I'm gonna become a
Well, we
pirate.
can only
There was
go
that
down
one-
like, what, 3,000
We
feet
we
now?
understand. There was that well, it's been a little further than that, I think, but not much. There was that one fish that like it was in all these fossil records and stuff, and like there it's been extinct for millions of years, blah 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 blah. And like off the coast of Madagascar, fishermen start catching them, and then people were like, "You guys are stupid. You don't know what you're talking about." Because when they're like this animal, like the deep sea creatures and stuff like that used to attack boats and all that, and they're like, those aren't real. But then there's one, I think it's an oil rig, and they find a creature, and like you look at this sucker, and like it's 100 foot, tentacles hanging everywhere, and all this
Oh, you're
stuff.
talking about the stupid, terrifying squid they found?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, this thing probably could cause some, like this is a scary a creature. Like, why?
If I remember the thing you're thinking of, you know what that is?
Mm.
It's not even an adult.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a teen either. I think it's a.
And that's the
kid.
thing that people don't realize. And they're like, well, these giant creatures that come up and attacked boats. Also, back then, there was a lot more whales. There was a lot more fish for them to catch. Think about a creature that hunts in the depths of the ocean and comes up occasionally, right? It happens to see a boat that's catching a whale. It's got food right there for it. It's going to go eat all the fishermen, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like maybe, like the megalodon.
The big A shark.
Maybe it's still there. Maybe it's just like, man, why would I go up there and waste my time?
Yeah. Like, and it could
With
surface.
less than 5 to 7%.
And it could surface all the time, and chances are you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge
The
area.
funny thing is,
The Amazon, only like 4 or 5% of the Amazon's been explored.
everybody's like, "Oh, hey, we should explore the freaking space." No, let's explore our planet first, and then we can go explore space.
Mhm.
Because I want to know what's in there, so I don't want to get in there ever again.
How about we do both?
How about
How about we just say,
No.
okay, we're going to do it all.
no?
If you want to explore space, start putting people on rockets, yeeting them into space,
I'll
and
do
just let them
space.
keep floating. Get some crazy. You got a lifetimer, right? He's a lifer. He's never going to get out of prison. You're going to die in prison. I'll give you the opportunity. We're going to put you on a ship, and you just record and keep continual communication with us, and we're just going to eat your butt in space.
All right, I'll do
We'll
one
give you
better.
we'll give you 10 years worth of
We
food.
can put them in the ocean. Tell them to go explore it. Do what you want.
But then you think about it. They get to an island.
No,
they keep
of
killing.
course you track 'em. Of course,
Yeah,
you track
that's why
'em.
you just.
See,
don't
that's how
just-
Australia got started. They were like, let's just put them on this island. Yeah, we don't want to do that again.
Hey, it could be a new island.
Yeah, but think about what
Like
we could
imagine
learn.
a people start inhabiting the Amazon again. We're
Because like
cooked.
they want to know what are the effects going to be. Like if we actually send somebody to Mars, what are the effects on their body going to be and all this? They're already dead. They're going to rot away in prison and waste a ton of money. People paying for their lives, like because they're going to be in prison until they die. There's no life of parole. We're going to put you on this ship. We're going to give you 5 years worth of food, and we're going to eat your butt out
Well,
in
how
outer
long does it
space.
take to get to Mars?
I don't know. We'll find out.
For
Well,
sure, a crap ton actually.
Yeah, it's longer than 5, ain't it?
Look up how long it's going to take to get to Mars.
Things like
And a lot of it depends on how fast we can get. Like, at what point do we figure out how to travel faster?
hyperdrive.
Well, why do we drop our fuel system the second we get?
It's because it's useless once we get up there.
Well,
The
why
amount-
can't they figure that out?
The amount of power that it takes to
7 to 10 months.
7 to 10 months.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We send them to Mars. We send the first couple to Mars. They land on Mars. They observe it for us. After that, we're like, hey, let's figure out what Jupiter's like. Let's eat the next one to Jupiter. Let's eat the next one out of the solar system. I don't care.
Well, here's my thing. We know space is just is a void.
I don't think it is. I think it's full of other civilizations and creatures. And I think when God spoke the universe into existence, he made all types of stuff because he's cool as heck, man. I do not for 1 second believe we're alone in
But
the universe.
if God wanted us to find all that, he would have gave us the ability.
He did. We can yeet ourselves off the planet. Some dude back in World War II was like, guess what? If I put myself on top of this giant missile, and instead of pointing it at another country, we point it at space, we can go to space. And that's what happened. They went to space.
Why?
That was after World War II, is the race. But like what they used to get to space was like giant intercontinental ballistic missiles. Like it makes sense. She's staring at us.
So I've been reading the Roy Sullivan Wikipedia page.
Who's Roy Sullivan?
He's the guy that got struck by lightning most times ever.
Mm.
Sometime when you're bored, look it up. It's pretty cool. Like it's also kind of sad and tragic, but very
Why is it
interesting.
sad and tragic? He kept living.
He died.
He self
Hmm.
outed.
Oh.
Why?
That's because
Well,
he kept getting struck by
I was
freaking
about to say, I
lightning.
wonder why.
he got very depressed, and
Do you know how nervous you would be? The first time
But,
after
like-
it happens, you're like, okay. The third or fourth, every time you step outside.
yeah, and the documented cases are from while he was a ranger.
I think he
Um,
got struck more than that.
When was the first time he got struck?
Well, the first recorded time was 1942. He was in a ranger station or fire tower that they had not yet installed the lightning rod from
Okay.
the fire lookout
So
tower.
he was the lightning rod. Yes.
And the tower was newly built, didn't have that. It was said to have been struck 7 to 8 times. Sullivan described the scene from within the tower, saying that fire was jumping all over the place. Sullivan was said to then have run out of the burning tower just before being struck a few feet away by lightning.
Good gosh.
It burned half a strip along his right leg, hit his toe, and left a hole in his shoe. And then, that was 42. Then he, I guess, lived a normal life until 69.
So wait a minute, though. He didn't get struck once the first time.
7
Well, the
times.
building that he was in.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure like some of that electricity was already hitting him, and he runs out of the daggum building. Lightning doesn't strike the same place twice. This building is getting assaulted by lightning. This fool runs out and it assaults him too. At that moment in your life, you instantly go, Lord, I am sorry for what I have done.
Even if you didn't know, you didn't know what you
Yeah,
did.
I don't care what I've done. I apologize for it.
Then he gets struck again in 69, in 70, in 72, in 73, in 76, and in 77.
That's why he self-outed, because he was like, good Lord, this sucks.
But
By the second
okay,
one, I'd be
the
like,
last one,
there's
I'm going to
no-
read its account. On June 25th, 1977, Sullivan was struck while fishing in a freshwater pool. The lightning hit the top of his head, set his hair on fire, traveled down and burnt his chest and stomach. Sullivan turned to his car when something unexpected occurred. A bear approached the pond and tried to steal trout from his fishing line. Sullivan had the strength and courage to strike the bear with a tree branch, despite the fact that his hair was on fire. He claimed that this was the 22nd time he hit a bear with a stick in his lifetime.
God hated this man.
Okay, I talk about if you're born ugly as a man, your life is in hard mode. If you're born as this dude, your life is in extreme mode. I'm sending bears after you. I'm going to strike you with lightning. I don't care where you're at. 22nd time I've had to strike a bear with a stick. And this time the bear's trying to steal crap from me and I'm on fire like a demon.
It also says at the bottom of this page that those 7 times were all while he was in the Shenandoah National Park, but he claimed that he was also struck when he was a child in a wheat field with his father. And then
I wonder how many times his father was struck.
Sullivan's wife was also struck once when a storm suddenly arrived as she was out hanging clothes in the backyard. Her husband was helping her at the time but escaped harm.
Only time he escaped, huh?
My goodness, what is going on in your family line? Like, I'm going to be repenting for like generational sins and everything. I don't know what fool in my family tree told God that he'll never be able to kill him, and he'll definitely not be able to kill him with lightning.
That's what happened. One of his family line was like, screw you. Lightning doesn't work on me.
And he was like, okay, cool, we'll make it not work, but we're going to show you how much it can hurt. Dadgummit. Yeah, look up Roy Sullivan.
And then a bear started.
And then like and subscribe us for introducing you to the lightning-attracting, bear-beating nutsoid that I wish I could have met in real life. Sounds like a cool
I feel
dude.
bad for that.
How
dude.
chill you got to be, though? people gonna be like,
Well,
man,
he
your car's on
often
fire, and be
so.
like, at least I didn't get struck by lightning.
And then that moment,
And boom! Ah, dadgummit. Jeez. All right, lead us out, guys.
Like, subscribe. Don't comment. Comment. Don't comment without a good point,
yeah,
please.
do a good point.
And thank you for watching.
And I hope you enjoyed.